What's good, y'all, and welcome back to I'll Do It Myself. So, yo, it is Friday. Man, we made it through the week. We made it through the week. This was a heavy week for us. You know what I'm saying? We dropped a lot of content. I got a lot of work to do. I'm actually, if you're watching this right now, I'm on a flight heading to New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? To host Louisiana Fest. You know what I mean? For Amazon Music. Shouts out to them. If you got through this week without no BS, you know what I'm saying? If things been going in your favor, just be thankful, pray. You know what I'm saying? Keep building yourselves. If it's things that's keeping y'all down, don't succumb to it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're dealing with depression, any anxiety, all of that, like don't succumb to it. We all go through things. We all have our battles, our fights. But if y'all keep pushing, you're gonna be all right. Saint Chroma off of the Chromacopia album, that's my go-to right now. That record got me feeling like I could do whatever is possible in the world. Anything I want, I could get. But with that being said, let's talk about Young Thug. So yo, Thug is home. Thug is home, y'all. It's been a long, trial. Thug's been going through this trial with YSL. For the past 2 years, he was arrested. You know what I mean? Charged with racketeering. It was a lot of stuff on his jacket, murders. You know what I mean? Being a leader of a gang. Let's go back to one of the news clips so we could get better context about what we about to go into.
Hip-hop superstar and Atlanta native Young Thug making an appearance in a Fulton County courtroom Tuesday. His first appearance in front of a judge comes less than 24 hours after authorities raided the rapper's Buckhead home. Channel 2 was the only station there Monday as investigators arrested the 30-year-old. Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams, is one of 28 defendants charged in a sweeping 56-count indictment against the criminal street gang Young Slime Life, also known as YSL. The charges ranging from conspiracy to violate the Georgia criminal racketing law, murder, armed robbery, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, also named Sergio Kitchens, who performs under the name Gunna. As of Tuesday afternoon, the rap star had not yet surrendered to authorities.
My number one focus is targeting gangs, and there's a reason for that. They are committing conservatively 75 to 80% of all.
So yeah, Fannie Willis, you know what I'm saying? She went on and the district attorney of Atlanta, she went on to, go after, gangs in the city of Georgia, the city of Atlanta specifically, that were quote unquote, causing all the crime and terrorizing, the city. And this whole thing against Thug has been brewing for years. It all started back in I think around like 2015 when they started investigating, the murder of a guy named Nut. And it went on to a lot of theatrics. I mean, before we even got the trial, you had the videos of YSL Woody, in the precinct, talking to the police in the interrogation room, telling them a bunch of stuff, basically telling on the whole operation. And then it ended up going back to, him going to court. And when he was in court, he was basically saying that he was lying. I mean, at certain points, the case seemed like they had stuff, but then it seemed like they had nothing at all. All in all, Thug decided to take a plea deal. But, his plea deal came with a heavy price and a heavy toll, which we'll get into. But, I want to talk, I want to go to, before we get into like the end of it, I want to go to what Thug's attorney had to say, because this is not something that he wanted. He wanted a full non-guilty verdict. He didn't want a plea deal. He wanted a non-guilty verdict. Let's check out some of that footage.
This is not the same as a not guilty verdict. That should have been ran. But nobody here wakes up every day on a concrete floor that they're calling his bed, gets up at 4:15, gets shackled at his feet, his waist, and his hands, comes to the Fulton County Courthouse to be on concrete, eating out of a bag. Doritos is his meal of choice. And then coming to a courtroom and sit there with a leg chain on him every single day and hear lie after lie. So for Jeffrey go home today and not have another 90 days or 120 days of it, he is very happy, thankful to the honorable court. So to answer your question, this was not what I wanted. I don't believe that it is just, but I believe that under these circumstances, it is just.
Yeah, so Brian Still was basically, explaining to the press that, he thought that Thug, and I appreciate everything that he's done as a lawyer, right? Because as a lawyer, you need somebody that's gonna fight with you till the end. And one thing he did do is fight. But in the courtroom, you know, he was basically saying how, you know, while he didn't want to go in for a plea deal, Thug, he had, you know, if it was a chance that he could possibly go home, he was done. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was tired of fighting. And I mean, honestly, he has been fighting for the past 2 years. Now, even though Thug has been fighting for his freedom for the past 2 years, you know, he did take a plea deal. So that means that he did acknowledge some of his crimes, and he did acknowledge some of the things that he's going through. And let's check out some of that footage, you know what I'm saying? So we could, you know, we could really dive into this shit, because it's serious. Like, this is a very, very serious situation. This is not something that comes light. I think that, like, there's going to be a lot of people celebrating and, oh, he beat the Rico, he beat the this, he beat the that. And it's not that simple. But let's watch some of this footage.
Is there anything that you want to say?
Yes, ma'am. I take full responsibility for, you know, my crimes or my charges. I want to say sorry to my family, my mom. My mom got 11 kids. I can't say all their names, you know. My managers, my kids that's not here. Really, everybody that got something to do with this situation, I want to say sorry for just, like, you know, having so much time invested into this, you know. And I am a smart guy. I am a good guy, and I really got a good heart, you know. I find myself in a lot of stuff because I was just nice or cool, you know, and I understand that you can't be that way when you reach a certain height, because it could end bad. And
so after 2 years, you finally get a chance to hit Thug's speech. And
you know,
I
fall on
mean,
you. And
serious. So, you know, he talked about apologizing to his moms, his family, all of that. Now, I want to give some sort of context as to, you know, the stipulations to this case, right? So, to his plea deal. So, upon his plea deal, he's banned from Metro Atlanta for 10 years, except for family weddings, funerals, graduations, or serious illnesses, right? He must give 4 annual anti-gang / gun presentations / concerts in Metro Atlanta. So he's banned, you know what I'm saying? He's banned from being there, but he does have to perform in these spaces. He's allowed to travel for work. No contact with gang members or co-defendants except for his brother and Gunna, which we're going to talk about that too. And he's forbidden from promoting gang-related content in any form. So, you know, he's basically can't be in the hood, right? Like, that's what it really is. You know what I mean? He don't live in the hood, but he basically can't be in the hood. The anti-gang, I mean, of course, when you take, you know, when you have something so seriously against you and you take a plea deal, you know, with something like this, you absolutely have to abide by the stipulations, right? When you look back to T.I.'s case, when T.I. took his plea deal for all the guns and everything, he had to do, you know, PSAs, go back to the Crime Stoppers thing, which a lot of people try to get on him for. But I want to say a few things, because we're going to get into more Thug talking. But some of the stuff that I want to talk about is this. The complacency, well, not complacency, the calmness, the respect, and the reserve that he has in that courtroom and for that judge. I hope that could carry out, and I hope he could carry that with his own people. Now, Thug is in this position because of the streets. You know, the streets don't love nobody. One thing we do talk about on this channel when we talk about the streets, it's not about the glorification. It's about the pros and the cons. Because yes, there's a lot of stuff that people get from out of the street. There's a lot of people who become career criminals, but he can't even interact with any of these people anymore, right? Or he's not supposed to. This deal, while it is a deal for his freedom, it's also very, very, very tricky, right? It's extremely tricky, because when they give you these pleas, probation, parole, all of these things are systems, and these are systems to keep you in a certain type of space to see if you're going to revert back to what you are, because it's better for the state to make money off of you being locked up or for you to be off the streets as opposed to being, you know what I mean, to be in jail as opposed to being on the streets. When it comes to Thug and this plea, he's going to have to seriously make a decision. And that decision is going to entail him changing his life completely. Like, I'm talking about, like, he ain't got to be a pastor. I see a lot of people like making memes and jokes, you know, about how he's gonna be rapping. Thug can rap exactly. He can do the same shit he was doing prior, but he has to kind of curve. He has to not kind of. He has to really curve how he moves around, who can be around him, and a lot of the people that they telling him to kind of turn his back on, the people that he loves. So this is the part. This is the not so pretty part of the streets. But again, the reason why he's in this position is because of him being out there, who he is, what he was representing, and how he was dealing with other people. So all I'm saying is like when it comes to all of these dudes that you got to deal with, whether it be in the streets or at a show, and I hope he has the same calm and reserve. And I want that for him. I don't want to see Thug getting in trouble. Now, one thing we can't negate also is while there are plea deals, because there is an admission of guilt when you take a plea, and he is saying, I understand my crimes, there's victims. So there's people who are victims, and we don't want to forget about the people that's the victims, because at the same time, while there are people celebrating, there's people that's hurting, because it might have not been Thug that was behind the trigger, or it might have not been Thug that might have even, you know, called the order for some of these things that happen, but it's people that's associated with him. And when you get to see the person of the person or next to the person that's responsible for your loved one being gone, that definitely hurts, but that's what comes with the streets. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the people who was involved, a lot of victims that were involved, they weren't, you know, civilians as well. They were in the streets. But I want to get into another clip where Thug, you know, goes a little bit deeper into who he is and, you know, what he plans on doing. Let's check it out.
The heights I've reached, I know the impact I got on people, period, in the community, you know, all people. I learned that late, like these past 2 or 3 years of my life, I kind of learned that late, and maybe it was because I was, you know, probably on drugs or anything, I don't know, but I have came to my senses and I understand what I mean to this world, but I am a good guy, you know.
So yeah, there you have it. Thug is, you know, saying that a lot of the things that he couldn't receive is because he might have been out of his mind on them drugs. Now, again, as much as I love hip hop, and hip hop is, you know, this beautiful culture. Hip hop is a very beautiful culture, and this culture reaches so many different regions. It reaches so many different people. And hip hop culture is like a pyramid that everybody gets a chance to put their brick into. I feel like Jadakiss and the Lox put a lot of bricks and a lot of foundation. So did Mace, but so did Soulja Boy. You feel me? Like I was just keeping it 1,000. Like I'm not pandering at all. Like you gotta respect everybody who's contributed to this thing. But with hip hop being something that, you know, people who come from impoverished areas can use to bring themselves up, it also comes with a price of bringing them same people up with you. And the same mindset that you may have, or the mindset that people are trying to implement into you so that you could change your life and get on from the bullshit, is not the same thing that the people that's around you is going to be on, right? So I think that the acknowledgement of his wrongdoing is very important, regardless to, you know, his lawyer. I mean, of course, his lawyer was kicking their ass. So he also said something about how they tried to administer, what was it? They tried to administer evidence of him in a group chat. They was basically talking about how Lil Uzi put the, you know what I mean? They didn't say Uzi's name, but he was basically saying like how he put the, you know, the diamond in his head, and it was like, yeah, 24 million on a nigga head. And they was trying to administer that as as some sort of evidence for, you know, a homicide or something. Yo, I think that the biggest problem that the defense had is that they didn't have their ducks lined up, and they really didn't understand a lot of the things that they was going after, even when it came down to the cases that they was putting on people. Now, if they would have went after certain charges, they might have got a lot of them, and a lot of people did go to jail for this. There's a lot of people that's not coming out from jail from this. So it's not like Thug is getting out, but a lot of people aren't. But also, what we going to talk about right now is this. This is a very, very intricate part of this whole YSL dynamic. Check it out.
With any of the co-defendants in this indictment, with the exception of Mr. Quantavious Greer, that is his biological brother, as well as Mr. Sergio Kitchens. He's a phenomenal artist. He goes performer known as Gunna, G-U-N-N-A. Mr. Williams and Mr. Kitchens are contractually obligated, and they frequently perform.
So there you have it. I just want to first and foremost say, a lot of people got to watch their mouths, man. I mean, when Gunna got out, Gunna took a plea deal as well. I think that the optics made it worse or look worse than it actually was, because Gunna had took the same plea deal that I think Funk, Thug's brother, had taken, which I think Funk he's back locked up. But Gunna had taken his plea deal and he had to acknowledge that YSL was a gang and that it should end and all this other stuff. And the optics and the audio made it look as if he got on the stand and pointed Thug out and said he was the one responsible for this, and the third. Now, a lot of y'all faces is gonna be like this, you know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all gonna be like that. And the reason being is because, you know, Thug's dad has said in the beginning, not the beginning, but I think it was within like the first couple of months of the whole trial, he was like, man, Gunna's plea deal does not hurt us. What he did cannot do anything to YSL. And when it comes to the streets and these codes and this rule book, it's like this unwritten rule book, or it's a rule book that's people that's in prison that's implemented into the streets. It's like a certain type of mindset. Everybody moves the goalposts for a lot of different things. Oh no, he told for that, but he ain't tell for this, so I mess with them and he ain't this. And it moves around in a lot of different areas. But I think that you know, that was a very, very, that was Thug speaking without having to say anything. By him saying that, now of course his lawyer said, yo, they got contractual obligations to one another. So people gonna say, oh well, he signed to him, so he got it. No, it ain't that at all. I think that like so many people were so quick to be judgmental in a situation where it's kind of like a gift and a curse. Gunna got out, and I think that, you know, when he got out, he was able to have an epiphany and really look in the mirror. He was, you know, out of shape, in a bad health-wise. They both was, I mean, Thug already admitted to being on drugs. I mean, Gunna probably smoke some weed every now and then, but he got his health in order. He got his mind right, and then he became like one of the biggest artists in the game. Came back to Atlanta and still sold out State Farm Arena. You know what I'm saying? So it just goes to show you, man, it's like everybody be playing these internet games about who's this and who's that, and everybody think like they know. One thing I learned about this trial is that I've never seen so many goddamn legal experts, so many keyboard lawyers in my life. You know what I'm saying? There was so many people that was reading the indictments, and people still doing it. They read the indictment, they make their assessment, they do this, and the third, and then they give their full-on conclusion like they are the person representing these people. You feel me? So it's like, and a lot of them is people who not even living that type of life or being in the streets or nothing. So I think that you got to reserve that part of the game just for those people. Let them handle that. You know what I'm saying? Let them handle that. Let them get to that. One thing I would like to say, you know what I mean? Hopefully, I don't know if Thug will ever see this video, but one thing I would like to see with Thug is that I would love to see him use his platform in a lot of larger areas, right? Like, he just came out of prison. I'm pretty sure the conditions in there was bad. He has an opportunity to really turn his life around, and I don't think he's gonna become like, I don't think Thug have to have Kirk Franklin on his intro. You know what I'm saying? But I do think that he needs to make some sort of decision about how he wants to live his life, because all of the stipulations that they put in his deal, it was a 40-year sentence, 5 years supposed to be in prison. The 5 years were commuted to him being in jail for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, he also had, what did he have? He had the 2 years, then he has like this probation time, then he has all these extra things that he has to add and do in order for him to stay out. You know what I mean? And be able to be himself. Well, not be able to be himself, but be able to be with his family. You know what I'm saying? And that's the most important thing about this whole entire tenure. Family. You know what's really important when your life's on the line. Some people got to get hurt to learn. I hate that a lot of us got to get hurt to learn. But hopefully Thug will change. Hopefully he will learn from this. And hopefully he'll keep it moving. Yo, I got one more topic that I want to get into, because we're going to do another Thug joint when I come back. I'm going to do some more deep diving into the whole thing. But one thing I want to talk about is this clip about Meg Thee Stallion. So, yo, Meg Thee Stallion, you know, a clip came out of her today talking about how she lied to Gayle King. Let's check it out.
Yes, bitch, I lied to Gayle King, bitch. First of all, I didn't know that bitch was even gonna ask me about that shit. Bitch, I always want to talk about this shooting. Why'd you ask me about fucking Tory? That's not what this is about. Even if I was, I fucked this nigga like once, maybe twice on a drunk night. Bitch, you kept catching me.
Yo, so before we get into the whole Meg Thee Stallion clip, why do ladies always want to they always want to have like a conditional body? Like, okay, yeah, I lied. First of all, she said she lied. But the conditional body, y'all ladies, y'all got to stop with these conditional bodies. If dude hit and you ain't like it, he still hit. If dude hit and it was but so many minutes, he still hit. If dude hit and y'all had a bad relationship or whatever, he still hit. Don't make it conditional. Now, the thing about this clip is, regardless to the situation, Tory has already been, they convicted him. He's trying to appeal right now to see if he could come home or whatever the case may be. He didn't want to take the stand in his own case to defend himself, whatever. But when you go up there and say that you lied on a nationally televised platform, then we're not talking about lying on like some bloggers, channel. We talking about you lying on, was it 60 Minutes? I think it was 60 Minutes, but Gayle King, who is one of the biggest like journalists in the like legendary, you went up there and lied to save face. That's kind of crazy, because if you lied about one thing, you will lie about some other things. Now, I'm not going to say that she's lying about the incident. I was not there. I don't want nobody suing me because I ain't got nothing for you. I'm not trying to say none of that. All I'm saying is at the point where you going to say that you lied about something, you know what I'm saying, concerning a person's, a whole situation, because that adds into your character. That goes into your character. But you painted this picture prior to getting up on the stand. So, yo, I just want to say what everybody might be into, or the ladies, the hotties, whatever the case may be, y'all already picked your side. Not knocking that, you got your right. But you cannot skip over the fact of you lying, and stop making conditional bodies. If you let that man beat, he beat. All right, yo, this is I Do It Myself. I will be back on Monday. Listen, I'm doing some vlogs. We about to launch this Patreon soon. We launching this Patreon. We launching the merch. I see y'all in the comments. Yes, we are working on everything. It is taking some time because I'm building my team slowly but surely, but we going to get to it. I just want to tell each and every one of y'all, yo, like, we is going up. I promise y'all, yo. 2025 is going to be crazy. And going into 2026, I got some real solid goals, and y'all are helping me meet them. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. For those that rock with me, you know how we do. And for the ones that don't, eventually will. This is I Do It Myself. And we're going to leave y'all with this.
Any message to the rest of the defense attorneys still fighting for their clients in this case?
Good luck.
This is why nobody takes the world serious anymore. Peace, y'all.